Hi, my name is Christina Dowell, and for EDU 587, we were to conduct a home visit with an ESL family and then learn a little bit more about their culture. Since my family immigrated from Iraq, I dug a little deeper into the culture and gave recommendations to teachers for teaching students from another country. So a little bit about Iraq's language. Arabic was the official language of Iraq for many years until 2004, when Iraq recognized Kurdish as well as another language in their new constitution. And it's been the only nation to recognize Kurdish as an official language. Use of the Kurdish language in nearby countries like Turkey and Syria is often discouraged and dangerous because of political reasons. A little bit of their culture. In 2017, Iraq was one of the top 3 countries that had refugees escape to the United States, in between Democratic Republic of Congo and Syria. Iraqi refugees account for 14.5% of refugees arriving in the U.S., which is around 6,139 Iraqi people. Iraq has a population of around 24,683,313. The Iraqi population consists of numerous diverse ethnic groups, the major of which are Iraqi Arabs, which around 75 to 80% are represented in the population. Iraqi Kurds are next. They represent about 15 to 20%. The rest is composed of a mixture of groups, such as the Armenians, Turkmens, Chaldeans, and Assyrians. A few Christians compose roughly about 3% of the population. Ancient Mesopotamia influences shaped many other civilizations during that same time period. Iraqi artists are well known for their work in carpets and rugs, as well as Iraq architecture is among the best in the Arab world. Music is widely played and characterized by instruments such as drums, the violin, tambourines, and flutes. Long ago, Iraq was home to several superior civilizations that were highly advanced in their times in all fields of knowledge, especially culinary arts. Today, the foods of Iraq reflect the rich tradition of the Mediterranean, as well as strong influences of Turkey, Iran, and the greater Syria area. Like other Middle Eastern countries, chicken and lamb are the preferred meats. Daily entrees are generally based on red meat and are usually marinated with lemon, garlic, and spices, and then charcoal grilled. Grilling kebabs is the most preferred way of doing meat. However, kuzi, which is grilled whole lamb stuffed with rice, almonds, raisins, and spices, is another favorable option. Almost every meal is served with rice. Butter and yogurt are other essential ingredients. Food will be cooked with butter, while yogurt is often devoured with the main entree as a sauce, a drink, or a side dish. Vegetables and fruits are always eaten during the day, especially dates, since Iraq is agriculturally known for them. They're served with coffee at the end of every meal, and this is because they're so juicy and sweet. So here's an example of one of the rice-cooked meat entrees that Iraq will make in everyday life. They also have a prominent fish recipe in Iraq. It's called mazgoof. It's sliced open fish, spiced with salt, pepper, and tamarind. Then it's placed on wooden sticks and it's barbecued in front of a large flame. It's cooked with tomato paste or saffron rice, and then it's usually served alongside with a salad or a side of pickles. Their religion, most Iraqis are Muslims regardless of ethnic background. They have 2 major groups of Islam, and they're characterized more equally than any other country. Those are the Sunnis and the Shiites. Around 3/5 of the population is Shiites, and about 2/5 are Sunnis. Islam specifies a way of life regardless of religious orientation, and it oversees legal, political, and social mannerisms. There are 5 pillars of Islam. Number 1 would be the Islamic Creed, and this states that I testify that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. The second one are the 5 daily prayers. They must turn towards Mecca and recite a prescribed prayer 5 times daily at dawn, just after midday, mid-afternoon, just after sunset, and before midnight. 3 is fasting during Ramadan. All Muslims abstain totally from food, drink, sex, and tobacco from dawn until sunset. 4 is charitable giving. It's also called zakah. It's an obligatory payment from a person's annual savings. It can only be used for assisting the poor and needy, the disabled, the oppressed, and other purposes as stated in the Quran. And then the 5th pillar of Islam is the pilgrimage to Mecca. And every Muslim who can afford it and who are able to need to be at least doing this at least once in their lifetime. For their geography, in the Arab world, Iraq is considered one of the most easternest countries. In fact, its location is around the similar latitude as the southern US. In the north, it borders Turkey. In the east, Iraq is bordered by Iran. In the west, it borders Jordan and Syria. And in south, it's bordered by Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. It can be divided unevenly into about 4 geographic regions. You've got the rock-strewn and sandy deserts of the west and southwestern Iraq. You've got the mountains, hills, and prairie lands of the north and northeastern section. This is alongside the Turkish and Iranian borders. There are the hills and plains of the south, and then you have the swampy lowlands or the delta of the Tigris and the Euphrates River. The Tigris and Euphrates River cuts through the mountains of Turkey. The Euphrates River is significantly larger than the Tigris River and runs across eastern Syria before reaching Iraq. Although the Euphrates River is significantly longer, it's also more shallow. The Tigris River allows boats to pass through it, especially into Baghdad. Here we've got a few of the geographic regions of Iraq, such as the mountains. You've got the Tigris and Euphrates River. So my lessons learned. The father is originally from Iraq and the mother is from China. They got married in China 10 years ago, but have been living in Iraq. They immigrated to the US in October 2016 because of all the war and violence that's going on. In fact, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees estimates that more than about 4 million Iraqis have been displaced by the war of Iraq and the aftermath afterwards. His father's primary language is Arabic, but his mother's primary language is actually Mandarin Chinese. However, they both speak English very fluently outside the home environment. Because of Iraq's historical connections with Britain, English has generally been the Western language of choice among Iraqis. Most educated Iraqis have at least some ability to speak English, although they tend to read more English than actually speak it. The family is also practicing Muslim. So my recommendations for teachers is using culturally responsive practices in instruction. So culturally responsive practices are specific educational practices, instructional strategies, team processes, and curricula content, which have been established by research to increase the achievement of historically underachieving culturally diverse students. This is by being culturally competent, teachers have a deeper understanding of the effect culture has on their teaching and learning, as well as engaging in practices that guarantee educational fairness between students. Culture and language can contribute to behaviors and attitudes displayed by students, and teachers need to be able to distinguish between these acts of defiance or are they practicing their culture, such as eye contact. Some cultures don't want you to make eye contact with certain people. Some teachers can see this as being defiant when really it's a student practicing their own culture. So recognizing these differences improves teachers' ability to focus on the individual needs of students. They also need to be able to provide students with learning opportunities to understand other students' cultures. So student diversity is increasing in classrooms, and because of this, students need to know how to develop skills that positively relate to another and become culturally well-informed when they're interacting with peers from different backgrounds. Teachers can do this by creating a supportive, responsive, and enriched learning environment that allows every student to feel comfortable examining their attitudes and sharing their ideas. Thank you.